Eileen, what's going on, buddy?
Not much, man. Getting prepared for what is going to be an epic series, I hope.
You ready?
I'm ready. Are you
Been hearing
ready?
all this hearsay, all this chatter about who's going to win, and all these different predictions. And hey, before we start on that,
Is
you
any
see
is
all the
anyone picking
predictions?
us?
What's that?
Is anyone picking us? It sounds like we're underdogs again, even though when we
Yeah,
won
Don
last.
Cherry's picking us, which is all that matters. But
Yeah,
Donnie
yeah.
came out and said he wants, well, he thinks it's McDavid's time. I was looking at the list of all these professional journalists,
Yeah.
NHL pundits picking like it was like 16-5 picking Dallas. Like, what were you guys watching in the last couple of rounds? Like, do you guys not get it still? I don't know. I don't. What do I know? How did they go against two of the best in the world, man, and McDavid and Draisaitl?
I don't get it. I don't. Brian Burke was on with Stoffer the other day, and that's what he said. He's like, I'm never betting against Connor and Leon again.
I saw that. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, why would you? But I mean, it happens, and that's what I've been seeing. So yeah, I'm not sure what the predictions are. I have heard a couple of guys come out and say Panthers, but for the most part, I think a lot of people are like now being wrong in the first three rounds because every round they picked LA, they picked Vegas, they picked Dallas, and now they're like, maybe
The
it's the
only
Oilers' time.
the only two guys, it sounds like you said, Don Cherry and Charles Barkley, right? Barkley's got our back.
Barkley, that's right.
Barkley's been saying it since round one. I remember I think someone on the panel when they went down 2-0 when they confronted Barkley,
Yeah,
not the Canadian panel, but at ESPN. I was watching. I don't know for sure, but it was Subban. I know Subban's been hating on us this entire time. When McDavid scored that goal, he was super choked, and he's like, "What the hell is Dallas doing?" Or when Kulak's goal went in, remember that Kulak
yeah,
goal,
yeah, yeah.
the rebound? He was going off. I'm like, why is this guy cheering for Dallas? What the hell, right?
He's hated us ever since we didn't take the guy, right? Or
Oh
sign
yeah,
him.
we did. Yeah, yeah.
I think he's had the hit on for Edmonton ever since he was a free agent, and he tried to sign with the Oilers, and the Oilers said no
And the
thanks. And
Oilers said no. Yeah.
yeah,
Well,
I think.
I mean, we're super lucky because there were some rumors that we were going to trade Leon for Subban.
Could you
Thank God we
imagine?
didn't do it. Yeah, I don't.
Could you
You know what?
imagine?
Yeah.
Who was at the helm? Was it Shirelli? Because he would have done it too. I mean, the one thing that could have happened had Leon been traded off, there wouldn't be so much question about his ability. So much, like we're just talking offline. Like maybe he would have been a superstar far, far, like back in the day. Like now, people are starting to realize who he is, and he's like I said, changed his game. He's playing an equally impressive defensive game as he does offense. But I don't
I
know for the
don't.
life of the NHL, they can't seem to see
I
it. I don't know what it is
I
with these
don't.
guys.
I don't understand these quote unquote experts and analysts. Going back to 2016, 2017, who carried us in the playoffs? So, like anybody that
I
watched
know.
the Oilers, Leon put us on our back against San Jose, and he was a beast against Anaheim. And then, I mean, I don't know, like in 22 against LA in that first round, before he sprained his ankle, he was, I mean, even
Yeah,
after that, and
yeah,
like
yeah,
Cal, he's always been a big game performer, and he just
yeah.
doesn't get his credit. I mean,
Haven't you heard? It's all Connor. Connor feeds him all the pucks. He's wide open, and he just,
it's
pots them
I don't
in.
know. You're right though. The narrative it's annoying, and the only way that we're gonna get rid of all of this, I think, is if we win. And, there's lots of interesting stats that are out there. Right, one is, I mean, this is the fourth time that we've had a repeat. Right, and each of
Yeah,
the previous three times, uh, the team that won or the team that lost the year before has won. Right, I think
yeah.
one was like way in the 1900s sometime. The other time was the Islanders, right? Was it Islanders Oilers?
Oilers, Islanders,
83,
84.
84?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
then 80, yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Um, and then I think it was Pittsburgh, right?
Pittsburgh, yeah, they did it.
Yeah. And then us, right? This is the fourth time.
Well, who are we to break tradition? I think we should go with that.
Yeah, I think let's go with that.
We
Another
should
thing,
stick to it.
Gregor said, 8 times in NHL history, a team that started this series, the openers, down 0-2, made it to the finals.
Right.
I had no idea. I didn't realize that. But guess how many teams ended up winning the Stanley Cup? 8.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow,
The
man.
one that I remember was Detroit, right? They lost. They lost to Vancouver. Vancouver was up 2-0 in 2004, was it? I can't remember, but Vancouver was up 2-0 against them. They came back. They won. I think there's a couple more that were recent as well. But yeah, Gregor was talking about that last week. I think I might have even sent it to you. So you never like open any of this stuff I send you, man.
Usually, I
What's up with
just
that?
straight to delete.
Yeah, straight to
No, no,
like
I haven't seen that, but
spam.
I usually look at the stuff you send me. Yeah, you know
Maybe I
what,
didn't,
man?
maybe I didn't send it.
What I've been seeing is clips of Connor in absolute agony in the locker room after the loss, and I can't tell you how much. Well, first it hurts, but two, that I want that to be circulated more so he remembers
What it
that
feels like.
defeat.
Yeah.
He remembers it, each and every one of them, but nobody more devastated than Connor. And I want to see more of that. I want him to remember that. And I think, I mean, I don't think he's forgotten. And I think that's the difference. Besides the fact that he's healthy, Leon's healthier. Darnell Nurse is healthier. Didn't he have like some kind of a major issue too? And so I think
Nurse was
taking
bad
all of those
last.
things, yeah. And we're looking at Florida. Florida's been pretty healthy, but not like the way they were the previous year. I know Kachuk is still playing somewhat injured. Reinhart's been in and out. So in a lot of different ways, it bodes well for us. And I think the major difference for us this year versus last year is that I think RD is a little bit more mobile than they were last
Yeah.
year. Right?
Yeah. No, you're right. You're right. I think it's going to be interesting. I mean, everyone talks about how Florida is, the top team from the East, and now they're like, oh, we're the top team from the West. We weren't really hearing a whole lot of that during
Yeah.
the regular season. Everyone was talking about how we regressed. I don't remember hearing much about Florida, but they weren't doing that well either. They were leading the division at one point, and then all of a sudden they were in third place, right?
Yeah.
After the trade
Yeah.
deadline. I think that there's people in Edmonton talking about our D. Our D is a lot more mobile.
Yeah.
I think that really though, last year, offensively we were solid. Defensively they were solid. I think they've improved offensively. I think we've improved defensively. So it's going to be interesting. If they want to come at us and be aggressive on the forecheck, I feel like our D is more equipped to handle it this year. Additions of Wallman and Klingberg, I think, is going to be huge. That's a huge, right?
Yeah.
What else? What are the other? I guess CC was CC's gone. Harney never played in that series. Broberg, right? That's the one thing, the one wild card that I'm a little bit worried about is having a guy on the off wing, right? On defense, we've got Kulak playing on the right side with Nurse. I think that was a little bit of an issue last year because of the pressure that was coming in. So maybe they expose that D pairing a little bit. I don't know. But I think overall we moved the puck a lot better, and
Right.
I think we're better up front overall because you just mentioned, right? Not only do we have other guys contributing, but we have a healthy Kane, right? I think we have a healthier Leon and a healthier
Yeah.
Connor.
And that's going to be huge.
I mean, we lost time. That's going to be bad. But I feel like Connor Brown he's skating even better than he was last year.
Yeah.
And I mean, Pot Coles and these guys, I feel like those guys are very underrated. Now, again, from an Edmonton perspective, we don't really watch Florida that much, so I don't know about the details of their third line and whatnot. But I think overall, offensively, they've improved a little bit as well. So it's gonna be interesting. I mean, everybody talked
Who
about
have they lost? Who have the Florida Panthers? Who have they lost that was major impact last year? I mean,
Montour was big on the team, but they've got Brandon Montour. They lost
Montour,
him.
yeah.
They lost OEL, right? Ekman Larson was back there. He was good on the power play. I mean, he was like first unit power play.
Yeah.
Um,
Lomberg, but I mean, he didn't do a whole lot.
Who's that? Sorry.
Lomberg, I think he's in Calgary now. That was one of the guys, one of the forwards.
Oh, yeah.
A feisty little guy.
Yeah. I mean, other than that, I mean,
Is Kulikov still there? Kulikov's.
No, he's not.
So he's gone. Not that I'm not sure how much he. Yeah, so they have been some changes in their roster as well. But I'm trying to see. Obviously, the obvious notable addition is Jones.
Seth Jones. But they also got they got another guy on D. I forgot who they got on D. Makala or whatever that guy, Miko, whatever.
Mikola, he's injured. Yeah. Mikola.
Mikola, that guy. Yeah.
Yeah, he's been injured in and out as well. So that's the other guy that's been kind of like, I'm not sure what his I don't know how much he's going to be able to go like 100% against his will, but he's huge.
I think forward wise, I agree with you. I don't think Kachuk is 100%. I don't think Reinhart can be 100%. I mean, he had a knee issue. There's another guy that I don't think is super healthy either. So it's gonna be interesting. What's that?
Adam Boqvist?
You know what? I think you're talking about his brother.
Jesper?
Jesper. He's the forward. His brother. Right, Adam actually got picked off waivers. I think Florida did sign him, but I think they lost him somewhere. I can't remember where he's gone right now. Let me look it up actually, because it's going to bother me. Florida did sign him, but he's not there anymore. Hang on, let me look it up.
And like, I mean, the point we're making is that the additions
Islanders.
versus subtractions.
Islanders kicked him off of waivers.
Okay,
Sorry
yeah.
to cut you off.
No, so what I'm saying
He
is
was signed by Florida.
the major addition has been Jones, and I think he single-handedly destroyed the Maple Leafs, right?
Well, let's not forget Marchand, right? Marchand
Right.
had 3 points in Game 7.
Yeah, I can't forget about that guy.
They definitely have the star power that they've added.
Yeah.
You know, the brand names, you know, Seth Jones, and everybody talks about. I mean, it's really interesting because when Chicago got him, they were like, "Oh my God, how are they spending this much on this guy?" And now all of a sudden he's in Florida with retained salary. I don't know how they end up doing all this stuff.
Yeah.
I think a big thing was Kachuk was on IR, right? And they used LTIR money, which apparently everyone else is allowed to do except us, right? When Kane's on there, legitimately injured and broken. It's a big deal. But back to point here with respect to Seth Jones. Now all of a sudden they're like, oh, on any given night you can be a number 1 team. Whereas just a year and a half ago he was a bust, right?
Yeah.
So I mean it's gonna be interesting. I think what I was gonna say was everyone talks about the improved attack. All three rounds we've been hearing that, right? Dallas, apparently, you know, they added Rantanen, right? And they're supposed to be much better on the attack. Vegas, apparently much better offensive team.
Yeah.
And the Kings. I mean, the Kings out of all of
Kings
those
were probably the best. Yeah.
I feel like the Kings were the best. But I think like guys like Klingberg coming in really helped us. And again, the puck movement out of the zone is going to be huge, right? We gotta move. And I think we can expose them if they want to come at us hard, and they want to take runs at us and stuff. If we can move the puck out quick, then we get to get advantage of it. Hopefully, we'll see. But it's gonna be interesting. We need to be smoking them and attacking them as well in their zone. But apparently their D's better than it was last year as well. It's more mobile, so
yeah,
it'll be interesting.
Yeah, one of the stats from the regular season that I'm hoping holds true in the playoffs against the Oil is that Florida had, I think they were the most penalized team in the league as far as taking penalties. If the Oil, what's that?
More than Dallas, yeah.
I think so. Yeah, I think they were dead last 32nd, or maybe Dallas was last. I don't know, 32nd, because we have 33 teams.
Yeah.
So they were right at the bottom 2 or 3, right? And if that keeps up and the Oil build on the success of the power play at home that they've had, that's going to be another big game changer because this is a team that's going to give them probably the most. It's going to be the most challenging one to get past. Obviously, it's the finals, but besides that, I think like the star power we talked about, the special teams is going to have to come into play. I mean, the penalty kills, our penalty kill has to be a lot better. I think their penalty kills top 10 regular season. I don't know how they've performed so far in the playoffs. Ours has to pick it up. Well, we still, even though we did really well at 67, 68% or whatever we are, we're still like, oh my God, what happened there? Right?
I agree. But the funny thing is if you take away 2 games from the LA series, and 1 game from the Dallas series, when we just like that's a big part of the percentage points. Other than that, the PK has been pretty decent. Again, it's hilarious how numbers work, right? And it's still a fairly big sample size going through 3 rounds, but in numbers of games, those 3 games have a huge impact on the bottom line. I think power play wise also, because we had a couple of games where actually no, not this year. We're pretty steady on the power play, 1 or 2 goals, right? We didn't really have like a night where we were like 4 for 5 on the power play, right?
No, I think overall everything's kind of picked up for us a little bit. It's ticked in place, but I just we dispatched Dallas in 5 games, right? A lot of people said, even the ones that picked Edmonton to win, they said it's minimum 6. 7. Most of them said 7. A lot of people said 7 against Vegas, and they were dispatched in 5. And mind you, both Dallas and Vegas could have been gone in 4 if the Oilers didn't have like a small
Leon scored a game winner for Vegas. And the PK basically cropped the bet, right? Arguably, right, could be done. What's interesting, everyone talks about how Florida's, crazy, amazing juggernaut of the team. But when you ask a question in 2 different manners, right? They're like, Oilers, whatever. They should be. Some of, I mean, this is kind of a stretch, but some do feel like it's not. It's kind of luck that they're here. But if you say, listen, out of the teams, what do you rank? Would you rank New Jersey, Toronto, and Carolina, LA, Vegas, Dallas? What order would you rank those teams? Right? Most people would rank probably Vegas and Dallas ahead of Toronto, Carolina.
That's right.
New Jersey without a Jack Hughes, healthy Jack Hughes. I mean, LA, I think a lot of people sleep on. I feel like LA is a dangerous team. I'm actually really glad that they trap, because I don't feel like if they didn't trap, they do have some holes on the back end, like you were talking about a few pods ago. But LA's got, I would put their forwards up against any of these teams, in my opinion, right?
That's right.
But that said, who's had the tougher road? And everyone, like you were saying, it's going to be 7 games, 6 games. Vegas is going to take them out. Dallas is they're going to have really troubles with them, and they did short work of them. And there was many chunks of those games where Edmonton had complete control. And
that's right.
Now those teams had an answer.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's what we saw. I saw a bit of the Toronto series. I saw a bit of the Carolina series. They completely overwhelmed Carolina. But the Toronto series, I don't know. Like, Toronto was, I feel like their Toronto's demise more than like Florida's like dominant play, right?
That's right.
Toronto just kind of killed themselves.
I think Toronto's got something going on between the years, man. Collectively, it's the second round. It's over for us. They had 2 guys against the ropes. They were up 2-0 against Florida, and then they
exactly.
They started seeing Marchand coming at him, and I think it's PTSD from the Boston days, and they caught up with him.
It also didn't hurt. It also didn't help that their number 1 goalie was taken out of the series either, right? Stolarz is doing
it. Yeah, but I let's give credit where it's due. Whatever it is, I think the adversity that Florida faced, they overcame it, and I think it's going to be a good series. But having said all of that, man, I think just looping back to how Connor felt after that loss, I think he's going to leverage that a lot, and I hope they make a short series of this, not something that goes to 7 games. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. There's a few things, right? Like, I feel like in net, Florida feels pretty confident with Bobrovsky over.
And they should, as he's a $10 million goalie. He's earning his keep, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Skinner, I don't want to talk about last year too much, because I'm gonna start feeling like Connor did in that video. But yeah, like I feel like the longer it's funny. I was listening to the Florida guy a couple days ago. I think he was saying that the longer this series goes, the better for Florida, because you don't want to see 5, 6, 7 Bobrovsky, right? But in 5 and 6, we kind of lit him up, right, last year.
That's true.
I feel like, he's definitely a good goaltender, but I'm not. I hope this doesn't come back and bite me in the ass here, but I'm not afraid of him, right?
I think in Game 7 in Game 7 last year, I know he played well. He didn't play badly, but he wasn't like, oh my God, he stole it for the Florida Panthers.
He did.
We ran out of gas in that game, I felt.
It's not like we ran out of gas. I like our coach, but again, you've got the Janmark line going pretty crazy. Janmark, Henrique, and what's his name? Connor Brown were going insane. They're the ones with the only goal, and they didn't see the ice for the last 5 minutes, right? Let's
give the guy a break, man. He was a rookie, man.
Well, that's the other thing, right? So they interviewed him, and they're like, so what do you think you have edgewise? And he's like, well, we kind of know Florida. He's like, we played Florida last year, and he's like, I'm hoping that that helps us, the familiarity with it. And if you read between the lines, he's saying, we didn't really know what to expect last year. Now to expect, and that's the big thing from us.
Yeah.
Kane was talking about that in a pod with Verhaeghe and Tim Peel, and he was saying, like, it's familiar now. They've been through it, and they learned a lot of lessons. And McDavid ended that series right against Dallas. He was like, he volunteered this information. I don't even know what the question was anymore, but he was like, we don't feel emotionally drained. We're fine. And I feel like Game 7. Even though we got out to that 1-0 lead, I felt like we were running those highs and those lows. And I think the advantage for Florida was they had been through it the year before, and they learned from that. And they got blown out 8-1 in one of those games, and they were just like, even after they lost in Game 6, they came home. They're like, we just got to win 1, right? And so they were more even keel. So I feel like I see a lot of that in us this year. And again, as we were talking about last pod, it's something that Wayne Gretzky can come in and tell you this and sit you down and say, look, this is what you need to do. But until you actually go through it, I don't think you'll understand it properly, right?
Yeah.
And I think that they finally understand it. And the other thing, Connor and Leon, they've been good. They've been really good, but they haven't been like lights out crazy, insane, taking over a series yet. And maybe they're waiting, and now's when they're going to do it.
I think it's more of their defensive play, and we touched on this in the previous podcast as well. I think both of them are a lot more defensively responsible. In fact, watching
right?
Yeah, and watching even the highlights in between the periods and the intermissions with Ron McLean and whatnot, they do play clips of these guys and how they come back and they're involved in the play. They're at one end and they weren't doing this consistently in the previous years, and
Well,
that's
no,
that's what's changed.
I think so. Absolutely. And they showed that back check. I think McDavid and Hyman came back. McDavid and Hyman came back on one shift, and Leon and I think Paul Colson were chasing guys down. But one thing, even just on the offensive side of things, right? There's been plenty of times where I've seen Leon and Connor both have it. They're like, they're sizing this up. They're like, we're at the end of our shift. We'll just dump it in and go. They're managing the game better. I can't remember how many times I used to get so angry when one of them would stay out for half a minute long. I mean, they kind of did that in Game 4, and you saw they got burnt, right, against Vegas, right? We saw that way more. Like, I can remember the time we saw it this one time in this whole playoff run, where there's so many times it happened in previous years where you just can't even remember because it happened so many times, right? I think that the game management aspect and also, like you said, the improved defensive play, that's huge. But again, like I said, we haven't seen McDavid go supernova except for a couple times when we actually really needed it to get that one goal, right, against Dallas. Both times against Dallas. I think Game 3, was it? Yeah. I think it was Game 3
Well,
when we needed,
which is awesome, man. I hope that continues. But the one thing you just quickly touch on his name, we're gonna be missing Hyman, and that's gonna be a huge void there. I don't know. What do you think they're gonna do? I mean, you saw with Game 5 against Dallas, they put in Ekholm. He played. Obviously, Stetcher came out. What are your thoughts? I know obviously Brown's gonna be back in, right? So he's gonna be playing. But what are the lines gonna look like?
Well, it sounds like Brown's in. If Brown's in, I mean, your boy's coming out. Pretty sure Jeff Skinner's out, and I don't think they're going to take. I don't think they're going to take 33 out. I think Arvidsson is going to be in there because he has more of the physical.
I mean, hey, Knobloch talked about the goal that Skinner scored. I mean, he gave him a lot of praise. I don't know if you saw that or not. They were asking him about Skinner's, and he scored. He said that was a great goal. It was a kind of goal that he would score in a big scrum in front of the net, and he knows exactly where to go. I think I touched on that too. So the guy is useful, but I have to admit, watching him carefully, even in that game, there were times when he was standing around, like the Oiler on the defensive zone, and I saw him like standing fairly high and not kind of getting involved, which is not something I'm seeing from other players. To some degree, they're always involved. And I think that's what gets under Knobloch's skin is that, no pun intended. It's you gotta be active at all times. You can't be standing around, especially in the defensive zone. You gotta, and I think that's what he's guilty of, right?
Yeah, I mean, you asked me what I see the lines looking like. I feel like they're probably going to start with McDavid, Nugent Hopkins, and Perry, and they're probably going to just keep Draisaitl, Kane, and Kapanen together, and then they'll go. I'm not sure about the third line. I guess they'll probably go with Henrique at center.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, Henrique, and then what on the Brown?
Well,
Henrique,
you got
Brown,
Arvidsson, and yeah, you saw Arvidsson might go on the front line. Yeah, but Colson's still there. I'd keep Colson and Brown's line with was it with Janmark? I'd keep that line together because they've been. Is it that line that's been really?
Well, I think they're probably going to go because Janmark, Colson, and Arvidsson were working well.
Right.
I think not look like that. So they'll probably go with Henrique, Brown, and who's gonna be on the left wing now? Losing a guy here. Shoot. So what is it now? Hold on.
We've gone through all the lines here, up and down, but
so we got
McDavid,
Nugent Hopkins, Perry.
Yeah.
Kane,
so top line.
Draisaitl, Kapanen.
You put Kapanen up there. I would probably even put Colson there because he works really good with Dre, right?
But then what do? You put Leon or you put Kane on the right side then?
Yeah, put Kane on the right side and then move down Kapanen.
Three lefties on that line. Yeah.
I mean, he plays both sides, right? He plays both sides.
I feel like they're gonna like the one thing with Kapanen this run. He's been hitting. He's been really aggressive.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think they'll probably start this lines the same way. I just can't remember who the third line left winger was. Henrique. Who's missing?
That's a good question.
Brown's coming in.
Yeah, Brown is in. We're obviously missing Ivan. That's what's throwing you off. Fred.
So we'll probably, I feel like they're gonna interchange Paul Colson and Frederick, right? It's gonna be probably Frederick on the third line with Connor Brown and Henrique, and then go Arvidsson at right wing, Janmark at center and Podkolzin on the left wing. They'll probably interchange those lines. They'll mix them up a little bit. But I think the top two, it's going to depend on how Perry goes as well. If Perry's going, they'll probably keep him up there, and they'll probably shift things around. I think, let's say we're up a goal or two in the third. We're probably going to see Janmark with McDavid, and Perry's going to be sitting, right? Nursing that 2-goal lead, and then when the empty net, so we'll probably see Perry back. I don't know.
Yeah, for the last game against the game against Dallas, the last game, we had on the fourth line was Henrique, Frederick, and Skinner. That was the fourth line. The third line was Janmark with Arvidsson and Podkolzin.
Yeah,
I think and Podkolzin's only been moved down from Drai's line because Kaner's back. But I feel that line with the Leon's line with Podkolzin was really solid. I mean, so I don't know.
It was, but I don't think you can. I really don't like that Henrique, Kane, and Brown line. I saw the advanced stats on that, and it was brutal. And there was a few they weren't getting anything going, right?
Yeah.
So I feel like just to get rid of that line, you got to make that shift. And Podkolzin and Arvidsson, keep them together. You know what's also going to happen? They're probably going to have Draisaitl double shift a little bit as well, right? Off of PKs and whatnot if they don't put the top line together, which they probably won't. Because they don't have, unless what are they going to put on the right side? You think they go out because they normally put out after a PK they usually put on McDavid, Draisaitl, and Hyman, right? So with Hyman out, maybe they'll just do what they did a couple times last game and put in Draisaitl, Podkolzin, and Arvidsson, right?
Yeah. I think with Hyman being out, it's going to be one of two people they're going to put on the power play. It's either going to be Evander Kane or it's going to be Brown is going to be in and out.
Yeah, I think it'll be Perry.
Yeah, Arvidsson used to be on the power play during the regular season too, right? So he could be drawing back into the power play.
Power play too. They tried him. Did they even try him? I think they tried him one game on power play.
I do recall him. Yeah, I do recall on the power play with the guys, and he did okay. But it's obviously not the same as Kane.
Arvidsson though is if you're going to have him on the power play, I feel like you need him on the point. He's always played the point on the power play wherever he's played, right? He's got that big shot, and he just I don't see him in the net. I don't see him as a net front presence, and that's what you're trying to.
That's why you put Perry in, man. He's doing great, collecting them.
Well, that's why I think Perry's probably going to try him.
Yeah.
We'll see. I mean, that's one of the things they're working on. But on that note, McDavid left the ice early yesterday.
I heard about that. Yeah, right? I heard about that. I think they're speculating. There's nothing. I mean, I was listening to somebody saying that he didn't miss a shift during the last game against Dallas. He was very, from beginning to the end, he was 100%. I think it's that thing that's going around. I think there's a flu going around. I know that it was Stetcher who was sick last game. He was really sick the previous game he played. I think it's that, and I'm really hoping that it's said and done and it's over with by the time game one rolls around. That's the only, I guess, blessing in this waiting period is that if there's any kind of injuries or sicknesses, they can try and take care of that. I know it's a long wait, but hopefully by Wednesday he'll be good to go, and that's what all the indications are, and that's what Knobloch said as well.
Yeah, Knobloch said no issues, he'll be fine. Hopefully it's just a bug. I mean, it's funny. Staples used to say this all the time, and I used to laugh. McDavid always seems like he's getting sick. Like, I don't know if he doesn't wash his hands or what. Every game he's like.
No, it's the immune system, man. I mean, these guys are super athletes, but I mean, when you're tired, I mean, that's when your immune system is not at its best. You get sick. I mean, especially if it's in the dressing room, it's going to go around. There's not much to do about it, right?
True.
So yeah, but hopefully he's okay. Leon's okay, and too bad we're going to be missing Hyman. Would have been nice to see him on the ice. Somebody hand him the cup. Which brings us, if the Oilers win, what's the hand the trophies down? Who's gonna hand who what? Obviously, Connor's gonna pick up the cup. Who's gonna give it first?
I don't know. That's a good question. I feel like they're probably gonna give it to
I have an idea.
Perry first. I would say
no. Perry's won it already. I think it's gonna be Nuge first, man. He's been here
since. That's a good. You know what? That's a good point.
Yeah, man. He's been here since day one. He's seen all the ups and downs. He's the first guy who should be getting it after.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, Perry's like hopefully
1 for 5. Yeah, he's been there 5 times, man. Yeah.
hopefully 2 for 6 soon.
Yeah.
But you know what? I think Nuge, that's a really good good thought. I didn't even think of that. I mean, if Skinner's playing, he's probably going to be up there as well, right?
Yeah, I remember when Colorado did that with Ray Borg. He was in Boston forever. He hadn't won anything, and when he came over,
they lost. They lost the first year. Then he re-signed.
That's right.
And then they won. Thank God, because I never wanted to see that guy. NHL. But that's besides the point. Yeah, it's gonna be. Yeah, you know what? I see it going to Nuge. You're right.
I should go to Nuge, and then from there, obviously, it's who knows. I think Draisaitl should get it before Perry does. I know Perry's the old guy on the team, and he's contributed a lot. He should get it top 5 probably, but I think
maybe Leon will just take it at the end and like drag it like he did the Apple trophy. Right? We'll see him go through.
Oh man, I want to see videos of Leon with the trophy over the summer, where he takes it and what he does with it.
So funny. Yeah.
But, hey, let's not get ahead of ourselves, okay?
Yeah, I was just about to say that. I was just about to say that. Let's not get too ahead of ourselves. It's gonna be a good series. I think. I'm excited to see some fast play. I think one thing I really want, obviously we want to win, but even more than wanting to win is I really want to stick it to Paul Maurice. You know, bad
it
blood
goes
going back
exactly what I told you with DeBoer. I mean, these guys when they're winning, it's the way they do these media sessions is like you should give them a cigar, like they're in total control, and that's what it was against the Oilers when they were up 3-0. You should have seen his demeanor was so relaxed.
Yep.
And then by the time it was Game 7, the guy
when it was 3-3, he was red and he
was crapping bricks and he was not comfortable.
And then after the game, he was talking again.
But
it's funny because DeBoer and Maurice are like best buddies.
Really?
I don't know if we talked about this last time. They played on the same junior team with Keith Gretzky.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I know. So they're buddies. They're line mates. I think they were roommates as well. And I think Gretzky was their center. Keith, not Wayne, right? So yeah, they go way back and they're best buds.
Wow,
and I think that during the finals, DeBoer was texting Maurice about the Oilers. But Maurice, man, this goes back to the Winnipeg series from 2021. Remember the whole Canadian division, all that? Wasn't he there? Right?
Yeah,
they swept us that year, right? So we owe this guy. We owe this guy big time.
We owe him. Yeah, we owe him. I was not happy that the Oilers lost, but I'm glad he got his cup because he left Winnipeg and all of that stuff. I know you don't like him. I actually don't want. I don't mind Maurice. I think he's a good dude, and
I don't like any coach that's not the Oilers coach.
Trying to be unbiased here, man. I mean, no, but I think he's a good dude. I'm glad he got his cup, but now it's over. It's time for the Oilers to.
Yeah, now it's time for you to take a back seat. And then, I mean, there's lots of Stan Bowman, right? I think are there any GMs have won a cup? I don't think any GM has won a cup and then gone to another team, except for his dad, right?
His dad probably, yeah. That's about
it. What's interesting, though, I agree with you, Maurice. He, what I liked when he left Winnipeg, he was like, he quit and he's like, I've taught this team all I can teach them.
Yeah.
And you need to.
I like that too. That was cool. Like he had lost the room and he knew it rather than get fired, rather than,
He's like, there's only so much. Yeah, there's only so much. He's like, I've done what I can with these guys. Now it's time to move on.
Yeah.
And then I think, well, Maurice, I mean, would it be the same story if Quenneville was there? Because Quenneville was there when all this went down. Quenneville had to leave and Maurice took over, right?
Right.
So is he getting the benefit, or do you think Quenneville would have done the same thing with this team?
I'm not going to discredit Quenneville. He's one of my favorite coaches as well. I mean, he did. Yeah, I with all the chat and all that other crap that goes on with it. But in all honesty, you look at these guys. There's some coaches in the league that you definitely want to have on your team. Quenneville's one. John Cooper, of course, like what he's done there. Maurice is another guy that I admire the fact that he stepped down. He's like, I've lost this room. I've done everything I can. It's time for me to move on. And so I don't know if any other coach could have stepped in and filled Quenneville's shoes as well as he did. Right? I mean, the players are there, the team is there, but you have to have a coach. I mean, if you want to, measure them to that level, you could say the same about the Oilers. The team has been amazing, but we've been flipping over coaches. It takes a special coach to get these guys to that promised land. That's what I believe.
Yeah, I mean, I was not happy when we switched coaches. Especially finding out this guy was McDavid's like junior coach. I was thinking, are you guys kidding me? What's going on and whatnot and blah blah blah.
Right.
And it turns out it was a great move, right?
Yeah.
I've grown to really like this guy. I like his calm demeanor, and he just doesn't seem to get rattled, right?
Yeah.
We're down 3-0, and this guy's calm, right? I'm like, yo.
What did he say? We'll see you guys in 10 days. He was already talking about game 7. I remember I remember that thing that they did with him where the Oilers are down 3-0, and he was still calm, and he's like at the end of his media meet, he's like, yeah, we'll see you guys in 10 days. And everyone's what?
And they're like, what the hell? I do remember though. I was thinking the same thing. and I admired him for saying this when we were down 3-0. He's like, we just as easily could be up in this series 2-1, and he's like, maybe even 3-0, right? And he didn't throw Skinner under the bus, but he did say that, you know, the goaltending, and that's one thing that I remember. I think you were talking about this, and you're like, you know, because when this went down, I needed support. I was like needing to be talked off of a ledge, and I think one of the things you were saying that you had heard, because remember we went to that game, right? We went to that game. We lost 6-2 to Vancouver. Couldn't hear the end of it. Yeah, that was, and then the next night, I think, or that same day, we like sent down Campbell when Stuart Skinner shit the bed. We're sending Campbell down and bringing Picard up, and I'm like, what is going on here? And then when that change happened, I remember, because this was a couple weeks later, because I think they still didn't get fired then, right? This was like a couple weeks later they got fired.
So, yeah.
I remember you were like, the one thing you heard is this guy doesn't mess around. He doesn't care who you are. He's on the bench, which I felt like we needed, right? And we saw that early this year. Remember, first couple games out of the gates, Draisaitl was taking these offensive zone penalties and doing stupid stuff. And what do? He benched him.
I couldn't believe you did that, man. That was Sit down, have a seat, think about what you're doing.
Great. That was great. And what happened? Draisaitl ended up having a crazy year.
It's a tough balance, man. Like with great coaches, that's a tough balance. I mean, you don't want to be like Iron Mike, where everybody fears you, right? Remember him back in the day, and it's a tough balance because you can lose the room.
There is that fine line, tough balance, like you said. But with Knobloch as well, like he put Picard in quite a bit this year. Like he had 20 wins this year, right? So he wasn't relying on Skinner the entire time, which was another breath of fresh air as well, right?
Yeah.
And he did not hesitate to go to Picard even last year in the playoffs, or he didn't hesitate to take him out against the Vancouver series. He didn't hesitate to do it in the LA series either, right? I think he played the last 10 minutes of that game too, right?
Yeah, and then it's worked out. I think you believe in the players, and they want to play for you, right? They don't want to let you down, and I think that he still has the room to that degree. I think in the last media meet, he also said he goes to Leon and Connor quite a bit on some of the changes and stuff like that. So they're involved in a lot of the decision-making process. He knows. I think he knows his room. He knows what's going on, and he's known Connor since the junior days. He has really good rapport with the guy. Connor's basically grown up in front of him, right? So,
did you hear the story they shared about? Did you hear that story he shared? It was Connor's first year, I think it was, and they played some crazy juggernaut team, and they had a playoff series, and he's like, Connor broke the record. He put like 24 points in like 6 games or something like that.
Yeah.
Just like, so I've known. He's like I've seen this guy before, and he's like, obviously you're not comparing junior hockey to like the NHL. But he's like, that's what this guy's made of, right?
But that's what he's doing at the NHL.
Yeah. But you always see he's got his back. So like you mentioned Iron Mike, and this brought up a point. Like, you know, when he pulled a goalie, or even Tortorella does this, he pulls a goalie and then he throws the goalie under the bus, or he does something, he makes him feel horrible, right?
Yeah.
With Knobloch, he pulled Skinner, but he basically was like, we'll probably see Skinner again down the road, right? This is just a reset. This is more for the team, blah, blah, blah. So he's always seems to have your back, kind of thing, especially in the media, right?
Yeah, which is great, man. I mean, it's 2 years. Let's just hope that this is another Oilers dynasty is what I'm hoping for. You know, let's see what happens.
Let's get
here.
one first.
We gotta get the first one first. But I want this to be the repeat of the early '80s, right? You lost the first one with the great one, and then you came back and you dominated. I want that to happen here. I know it's a little bit later than when Gretz did it, but hey, man, we're not 21 team league back when I think it was 20 or 21 teams when he was winning his cups. It's a lot tougher, and it's the game's changed a lot. We're 33 teams going to 34 soon. But I think that this is the beginning of something great. We got to do this and see where it goes. I'm really excited, man. Can't wait till Wednesday.
I can't wait till Wednesday either, man. We're going to have to see what happens. Well, do you have a prediction for game 1?
Oh, so it's going to be a little bit different because it's in Edmonton, right? We haven't played, I
haven't started a series at home in a while.
Yeah, in quite some time. So that's the only concern I have is how are these guys going to react? A little different because of the crowd's going to be behind them. I don't want them to come guns blazing in the first 10 minutes and tire themselves out because they haven't played for a little while too. So I hope that the coach preps them so they're even keeled. And if that's the case, I think it'll be a good game against these guys. I predict a 4-1 game for the Oil. That's what I think it's going to be.
4-1. You know, I would be concerned about starting at home and being nervous and whatnot, but remember, these guys have been talking about maturity, right? And I think that, I'm starting to, this is a problem because I'm starting to believe in their maturity. So I don't think it's going to be a problem. We'll see. Okay. The only thing I'm always worried about is
goaltending.
when does midnight hit, right? So hopefully, they're able to stay in the moment.
Yeah.
And Skinner is there. I think it's going to be something similar along those lines as well. I think we see like a 4-1, 5-2 type of game. I think
Awesome, man. Okay, well, that's it. Then we'll meet up after game one to analyze. Hopefully, we'll be all smiles and cheers and stuff like that, and talk about game two.
Sounds good, man. All right. Thanks for your time today. We'll chat soon.
Thanks, brother. Okay, buddy. Take care, man. Talk to you soon.